Welcome back, and joining us now to look at Axios AM is political reporter for Axios, Alexi McCammon. Alexi, great to see you. What is the Axios One Big Thing today?
Good to see you, too. So last week I had the chance to sit in on a focus group with Florida swing voters, so folks who voted for Trump in 16, Biden in 20. There were 12 of them. 11 of the 12 said that the FBI search of Mar-A-Lago was justified. All of them said that if he took documents as alleged, that would constitute a serious crime. And of course that matters. It's only 12 voters, so it's not statistically significant, but it matters because these are folks who supported Trump. It's obviously completely different from the rest of the Republican Party kind of coalescing around him. And now there are a group of Republicans, Democrats, and independents who are otherwise looking for someone new to support in 2022 and 24.
So this search would potentially prohibit them from voting for Trump again? Is that the idea?
They already have soured on Trump. This has further solidified it. But what's really interesting is that last month we did the same focus group, different voters in Arizona, the month before that in Wisconsin. Across all three groups, all of them want to see Trump held accountable either for his role, they say, in overturning the 2020 election, inciting the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, or the latest allegations of taking classified documents.
Yes, certainly many Republicans, at least here in Washington, are publicly still supporting the former president.
Sure.
But that's interesting about swing voters. But speaking of the Mar-A-Lago search, how has it impacted, a week out now? What are you seeing in terms of the early impact on GOP fundraising?
Oh, they're loving this. They're sending out emails, text messages, trying to gin up their base to give them these small dollar donations, which they've otherwise kind of been lagging behind the Democratic Party so far this cycle. And they're really seeing this as something that's, enthusiastic for their base when otherwise they haven't found an issue like this to really get them excited. Democrats haven't really been trying to talk about it, much less fundraise on it, though there are some affiliated PACs that have been trying different strategies to try to get money off of this event.
Yeah, and certainly the rule of law comes first, but the political moment here is interesting, right? Where this search sort of changed the conversation. Democrats on a huge win streak right now, and the Reconciliation Act, the president's going to sign into law later this week. We haven't seen his poll numbers go up yet, but certainly Democrats feeling much more bullish about November. But we're not talking about that again. We're talking, as we always seem to do, talking about Trump and his latest controversy. But Republicans you talk to who wanted this election to be about inflation and President Biden's job performance, though they're raising money, are they happy that they're talking about Trump again? That's
a great point. It's very frustrating for a lot of folks across the Republican Party, especially those with an eye toward 2022 and the wins that they know they need to have. They want to talk about inflation, gas prices, the economy. They want to talk about anything other than Donald Trump, and now this has completely derailed all of their campaigns, for better or for worse. Some folks are finding success in fundraising. Others are trying to stay away from it.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday made a campaign stop in New Mexico. Tell us why that matters.
Yeah, well, he's obviously making this kind of cross-country tour, really solidifying his brand as a leader within the party ahead of 2024. He was campaigning in New Mexico, which for Republicans, they tell Axios that they view that as one of their new and perhaps best gubernatorial pickups. They want to flip it from a Democrat, and they think that because of the shifts in Latino voters moving toward Republicans, they think that the way in which Mark Ronchetti, the Republican nominee, has sort of distanced himself almost from Donald Trump and the national mood going on, that he's seen gains as sort of this more independent leader within the party. They're watching these trends and they're thinking that this is now a state that they'll be able to flip, when previously it wasn't on their radar, in places like Michigan and Wisconsin were higher priority.
Yeah, certainly New Mexico had been more of a battleground state a few cycles ago. It's been more reliably Democrat since. And sort of tying this stuff together with the midterms and you mentioned that in fundraising, where are we seeing right now in terms of the Senate and the battle for dollars in some of these high-profile races like Georgia, like Arizona, that are going to determine who controls the upper chamber this next year?
Both of those states, obviously, also we're seeing a lot of action in Wisconsin, of course, with Senator Ron Johnson, who's facing a challenger in the Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes. Pennsylvania with Dr. Oz and John Fetterman, who's been really prolific online, not just in terms of content, but also fundraising strategies. So I think those two states in particular are states where Democrats are really trying to cut away at what they view as weaker Republicans, while those Republicans are watching others in other states trying to figure out how they can capitalize on this moment right now.
Yeah, and Fetterman just returned to the campaign trail after suffering a stroke a few months ago. Alexi McCammon, thank you as always. Great to see you this morning.